it's Eric at Aquanuga. Today we're going to take a look at dividing and potting a hardy water lily. So I've gathered all my supplies up first. We have our water lily that's in need of division. We have soil. I'm going to show you two different types of soil today. We have our gravel, we have our fertilizer, and we have our pots. So first, let's look at why we're dividing this water lily. When we look at this lily, we're going to see multiple growing points. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have at least 4 viable plants right there. Each individual plant is going to be competing with the others for the available nutrients. So they're not going to do as well with that many plants in one individual pot. Additionally, when it gets like this, they may get a little bit root bound, so you're even less able to even get fertilizer into the pot. So the first thing that we're going to do is we actually need to remove each of these individual plants. As we look at each individual rhizome in here, we'll see that this one is already starting to jump the pot a little bit. So we're going to start with that one. We're going to take a sharp knife. Going to kind of work a semicircle around the area so that we're going to get all the little feeder roots as well, cutting through the rhizome itself. And we want to have a nice straight cut. That's why you want to use a sharp knife on that. So this one is free. We're going to set it aside. We're going to put it in a little pot of water, rinse some of that soil off a little bit. We don't have to get all the soil off, but we do want it to just be a little bit cleaner. And then we're going to move on here to the next one. And we can see this rhizome following this direction right here. So I'll scrape away some of the roots. And then I'm going to do the same thing, kind of a semicircle, so that I've got a couple inches of the rhizome and be able to pull that right out. So that's our second one ready to go. And then right here, I'm going to feel around for which way the rhizome's going. It's going right there, so we're going to do the same thing. Cutting through. And then we'll be able to pull that one out. So it turns out there were actually 2 right here that were real close together. So we'll be able to get that one as well. Now what you do with these is up to you. Maybe you've got too many lilies already and you're going to give these away, or you're just going to throw them away. As long as you're getting your pot down to 1 plant, that's going to be our main goal, so it's going to perform a lot better for you. All right, so now we're going to set our old pot aside, and we're ready to begin working on the potting stage of things. So we'll be potting 2 of these up for you today so that I can illustrate both 2 types of pots and 2 types of soil. So the first pot that we're going to work with is a fabric pot. The fabric pots are great because they're going to allow water flow through the root system. Just enables the plant to pull more nutrients from the water and provide a good growing plant. We can fold these sides down a little bit if we need to adjust the height within the pond. And our 2 types of soil that we're going to use, for this one, I'm going to use just a heavy clay-based topsoil. So this is an actual clay topsoil. It's not a potting mix. It's something that's going to compact easily when you press it together. Just a good sifted clay loam. Now the first thing that we'll do is we're going to fill our pot a good portion of the way full. Again, we'll be rolling these sides down to adjust. The lilies really don't need a lot of depth. So once we have about half to 2/3 of our soil in there, we're going to mix in some fertilizer. Going to be using the Landon's granular fertilizer when we pot these up. If this was a lily that was already potted that we wanted to fertilize, we would be using the tablets. But when we're starting fresh, the granular fertilizer is going to feed better and longer. So we're going to put in about half a cup or so, and then we're going to mix that in. All right. And now we're going to put the rest of our topsoil down there, and we'll take our first little rhizome. So we can see this is the actual rhizome. Here's our cut end right here. Water lilies are going to want to grow across the pot like this. So what we want to do is we want to put it up against one edge, put the cut side up against one edge, and that's going to be at about a 45-degree angle. And then we'll put the rest of our soil in place here. And pack that down. We want to compress that soil. Anchor the plant real well. Again, our growing point is above soil level right here. If you bury that, you've got a high probability of failure. Then we're going to take some pea gravel. You can use a sand if you want, but I do prefer pea gravel right here. It's going to help keep the fish from rooting around in the plant. It's going to help keep the soil from washing out. At that point, this one is ready to go in the pond. And next, we're going to pot up in a no-hole plastic pot. What you don't want to be using is something that's porous or has a lot of holes in it, like a plastic basket that will allow a lot of soil to leach out into the pond and make a mess. But this time, we're going to be using the store-bought aquatic potting soil. Now, I have pre-moistened this. It makes it work a lot better, take hold, less dusty. So we're going to basically do the same thing. Half to 2/3 full. Mix in half a cup or so of our granular Landon's fertilizer. Go ahead and put in a little bit more soil. And pull out our next water lily. So again, same thing, our cut side against one edge, rhizome at about a 45-degree angle. This one had a few more roots, so I'm just going to tuck those down into the soil. This type doesn't pack as well, but you're going to pack it in as best you can. And then come on top with some more. Pack that down. This is going to hold the lily in place, give it a good anchor. And finally, top again with the pea gravel. And our second one's ready to go in the pond. When you do place these in the pond, you can go ahead and place it at the complete depth. It's just going to take it a little bit longer. Even if the leaves are all below the surface, it will adjust to that. But if you start it a little bit more shallow, it's going to get a quicker growth and just a better start for you, and then gradually move it deeper as you're able. And now that we've shown how to divide and repot the water lily, it is time for the fun part. We get to play in the pond. We're going to just put our newly potted lily into the water. We'll slowly lower that into the water. That's going to minimize how much of the soil washes out into the pond water. And we'll just set it into place. Those leaves will start to adjust. As you can see, we've got a couple already reaching the surface. The others will reach very quickly. And that's that. Thank you for watching. If you need anything related to your pond, please reach out. We're here to help.